Hi there, Jennifer here. Today I'll be sharing how to crochet this flower motif. I'm calling it the Petals motif. This motif features a three-dimensional flower, as you can see here, with a large hole in the middle. Behind it is a granny hexagon. In this tutorial, I'll walk you through how to begin this motif with the large center ring. Next, we'll create these slightly ruffled petals using a combination of single crochet, chains, and treble crochet stitches. Then we'll switch to the contrasting background color, and I'll show you how to work chains and slip stitches behind each petal to form the base for a classic granny stitch hexagon. I've used this motif in the Moonlit Petals blanket and the Vintage Petals blanket. The Moonlit Petals blanket features flowers of various colors, while in the Vintage Petals blanket, I chose to keep the flowers the same color and change the background color for each granny hexagon. Each of these blanket patterns is a beautiful way to add warmth, texture, and a touch of whimsy to your space. Because these motifs work up quickly in bulky weight yarn, you'll have a finished blanket in no time. Perfect for gifting, decorating your home, or simply enjoying as a cozy, relaxing project. I'll leave the links to these patterns in the description. Let's begin. For this tutorial, I'm using Lion Brand Hue & Me bulky weight acrylic yarn and a size K 6.5mm crochet hook. You'll want to use the appropriate hook size for the yarn you're using, or whatever's listed in the pattern. You'll also need some scissors and a tapestry needle. I'll start by grabbing the color that I'll use for the flower in my motif. Begin by making a slip knot. Then place it on your hook, and we'll chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Next, we're going to slip stitch in the 11th chain from the hook, or the first one that you made. So go ahead and bring it around like so, and I'm just going to slip stitch in that first one, or the 11th one. And that creates our ring. And I like to pull the tail to the back so that we can work over it when we get to the end of the round. Next, you'll make your first petal. So chain 1, and then single crochet into the ring. So again, I inserted my hook into the ring, yarn over and pull through the ring, and then yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook to complete that single crochet. Next, chain 3. This chain 3 doesn't really count as anything, it just gets us to the height for the next stitch. It kind of forms the side of your petal. We're going to make 3 treble crochets into that ring. That's our first one. And our second one. And the third one. All right, so we have 3 treble crochets. Chain 3 again, and single crochet in the ring again. So see, that's our first petal is complete. Let's do this one more time. So chain 3, and then work 3 treble crochets into the ring. As you can see, I keep pulling. You can kind of move them over as you go so that they'll all fit. You just kind of hold the last one you made and then pull the ring like that to kind of get them, cinch them up so that they're all tucked nicely together. and then chain 3 and single crochet again into the ring, just like so. And there's your second petal complete. Now you'll want to repeat those steps 3 more times, and I'll do the last one with you when we get to the end. So you'll have 5 petals total. Stop there. I'll come, and then we can come back and I'll show you how to make that last one, working over the tail and join to complete your round. So as you can see, I've got 5 petals just about complete. I decided to stop before finishing this 5th petal because I want to show you what I like to do to kind of keep the last petal nice and neat. So I'm going to chain 3. I've already made the 3 treble crochets there, so I'm going to chain 3 and then single crochet into the ring, working over both the tail. So I'm going to pull this tail up snug next to the chain and work over both of them into the ring to make my single crochet here. Okay, so that just keeps it nice and neat and makes this next step easier. Okay, so go ahead and chain 3 to begin your last petal, and I'm going to work 3 more treble crochets into the ring, working over both the chain and that tail. So here's our first one, and our second one, and with this third one, it's quite all right if there should be enough space, but if you have to work over the knot at the beginning of your chain, that's fine too. It'll all cinch up here in a second. Okay, so there's our third treble crochet in that last petal. Now the other nice thing about having this tail here is that you can pull it to kind of cinch this whole last section together. So I'm going to hold my stitches there and then pull the tail, and it'll cinch it even further. Move everything close together. Because you do want, that's kind of the trick to working into a large ring like this, you want all of the stitches to be as even as possible so that everything lays flat and nice and neat. So now that we've completed the last 3 treble crochets, we're going to chain 3 and slip stitch in the first single crochet that we made in the round. Like so. You can go ahead and pull out the loop a little bit and take out your hook and set it aside, because I'm going to show you another trick to make the fasten off at the end of this round work seamlessly into our beautiful ring that we've just made. Okay, so you have your loop pulled out. Go ahead and grab your scissors and cut the yarn. Just leave like 6-inch tail or so. And then grab your tapestry needle. Now typically when we fasten off at the end of a round, we usually we'll grab the loop and pull the tail through and then cinch it up this way. But you see how that's if we have that sitting there, it doesn't really look like it belongs with the rest of our work. So instead, it'll stand out, I think. I like to come up with little tricks to make things look a little more seamless and neat. I'm a neat freak. What can I say? Okay, so we have our loop here. Now, like I said, instead of pulling the tail through and kind of pulling it to the back like you normally would, let's pull it down and to the front, okay? So that's going to go here. You can cinch it up a little bit if you like. It doesn't have to be super long, like maybe that long. So what, like a 1/2 inch? And then grab your tail and pull it. You're going to pull it down and through the hole this way. So pull it to the front through the hole. You can thread it onto your tapestry needle at this point, and then pull it, or insert your tapestry needle into that loop and pull it through. Next, so you can pull it so that it's nice and snug, and then pull the tail through the ring again, so it goes back to the back. See? So see what that will look like? Once you get to the back, you can just weave in your end. You just want to pull it up a little bit so that it's nice and snug and in line with the rest of your stitches there. And then I'm just going to go through here. Everybody has their own way of weaving in ends, right? Sometimes I think I get a little too crazy. I get in the zone and just start weaving in ends everywhere. So here's how I weave my end in. This is how I've been doing it for the last two, the 2 blankets I made with this motif. I don't know, it works well for me. I just always like worry that someday I'm gonna, wash this blanket, or someone else is gonna wash this blanket, and I would really hate for my ends to come out, especially ones that aren't, started with a knot. That always kind of scares me. So I just went like up here and down here. That should be enough. Weaving it through those stitches should be enough to secure it. And then I am just going to go through, here's my favorite little trick. I'm going to go through all of these stitches like this, and then pull it through, and then skip this first stitch closest to where my yarn came out. Skip that and insert your hook in, or sorry, insert your needle into the next stitch, and through as many as you like going this way. I mean, if you went back through where you came out, obviously it's just you're just gonna pull your yarn through. So you want to skip one there to kind of anchor it, and then go through like that. And there you are. And see how that anchors your yarn, so it's not going to come back out. And then all you have to do is trim your tail a little closer, and you're weave in that other end if you like. I probably would just do it the same way, just weave it in right there, and you're all set. That's round 1 complete. Let's move on to round 2. Grab your contrasting color and make a slip knot. Place the slip knot on your hook, and you'll make a slip stitch in any of the single crochets in round 1. Next, we'll chain 4. And we want this chain to be behind the petal. So, and then we're going to slip stitch over here in the single crochet. So to do that, go ahead and fold the petal to the front, find your next single crochet, and then slip stitch into it. Like so. So you see how the petal, when you unfold it or fold it back, it's actually in front of the chain, because we'll be working the next round into that chain, which will be the start of our granny stitch hexagon. And that gives the petals, the whole flower, actually like a 3-dimensional effect. So again, you can fold this next petal to the front, chain 4, find your next single crochet. Oops, this was the one from the start of the round. So it's a little bit harder to get into, but you should still be able to get in there. And slip stitch in that single crochet. So just like so. Chain 4, pull your petal forward, and then slip stitch in the next single crochet. Now if folding all these petals forward is awkward for you, I know it kind of was for me. I feel like that slows things down a little bit. I have another way of doing it. So go ahead and chain 4 again. Now instead of folding the petal to the front, you could just slip stitch like this, like so, and then honestly would just do all of them and then pull the petal to the front when you get to the end. So here's what I did. We'll just chain 4, slip stitch in the next single crochet, working in front of the petal. One more, chain 4, and at this point, let's go ahead and just pull these to the front. So just tuck that petal up under the chain and pull the chain to the back. You may have to fiddle a little bit just to make sure everything lays properly, but this is a nice easy way of doing it if you get tired of pulling petals to the front. One way or another, you have to get those petals to the front. Okay, there you go. So this is my last one. I've chained 4. And for this one, I actually am going to work behind because I think that might be easier. We're going to ignore the slip stitch from the start of our round, and I actually want you to slip stitch to join in the first chain of our beginning chain 4. So again, working behind that petal, go ahead and find that first chain in our first chain 4 and slip stitch into it like so. And that is round 2 complete. I'm just going to take my hook out so you can see what that looks like on the back. So again, you may need to pull your, especially if you pulled your petals to the front, you may need to do some adjusting, but otherwise that's how the back should look. And from the front, you can't really see anything at all. Now on to round 3. We'll begin by working another slip stitch into the next chain in our beginning chain 4. And this just gets us to the right position because we're going to make a corner in this chain 4, and we want it to kind of be closer to the center. So there you are. So now we're all set to begin. You can go ahead and chain 3. This counts as the first double crochet in our round. Next we'll work a double crochet into that chain 4 space. Chain 2 and work 2 more double crochets into that same chain 4 space. Now chain 1, and we're going to work into the next chain 4 space. We're going to work 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet into that chain 4 space. And then chain 1. Then you're going to do the same exact thing into this chain 4 space. I'll show you one time. And then chain 1. So go ahead and continue working that sequence in each of your chain spaces, chain 4 spaces, all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end. So I've worked the last corner, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, and all I have left to do is chain 1, and then I'll join in the top of this beginning chain 3. So 1, 2, 3 right there. Insert my hook in that 3rd chain and just make a slip stitch. And round 3 is complete. Here's what that looks like on the back. So you should have 24 double crochet, 6 chain 1 spaces, and 6 chain 2 spaces. We have one more round left. Let's do round 4. Start by working a slip stitch in the next double crochet. Next, I'll work a slip stitch into that first chain 2 space. And each of these slip stitches is really just getting us over to the the chain 2 space so we can make our next corner, or the first corner of this round. Chain 3, again that counts as your first double crochet, and then work a double crochet, chain 2, and 2 more double crochet into that first chain 2 space. So there's our first corner complete. Then chain 1, and we're going to work into this chain 1 space here between our 2 double crochet groups. So here's our first double crochet and a second double crochet, chain 1, and we're going to make another corner into this chain 2 space. So 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 more double crochet. And there's your corner. Do it one more time. Chain 1, 2 double crochet in your next chain 1 space. So there's 1 double crochet and 2, chain 1 again, and work 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in that chain 2 space. So go ahead and continue working that sequence all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end. So I've completed my last corner here, and I just have a few more stitches to make. I'm going to chain 1 and work 2 double crochets in this last chain 1 space. And then chain 1 and join in the top of this beginning chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Insert my hook in that 3rd chain, yarn over and pull through, and then pull through the loop on my hook to complete that slip stitch join. And that completes round 4. You can go ahead and take your hook out and grab your scissors. Go ahead and pull your yarn through the loop and cinch it up to fasten off, and your motif is complete. In this round you should have 36 double crochet, 12 chain 1 spaces, and 6 chain 2 spaces. I hope you'll enjoy making these motifs. Aren't they quick and fun? If you'd like a written version of the pattern, visit the links in the description below. Your purchase directly supports me as an independent designer and helps me to continue making patterns and content like this. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more crochet techniques, tips, and tutorials, and check out the links in the video notes for more ways to find me and my patterns.